Hello, everyone. If anyone is with me, feel free to give me a shout in the comments. I want to make sure that our sound is working since we've been having some tech issues with that. One moment. Could you test our sound? See how we're doing? Test, test. Yeah. Sorry about that, everyone. All right. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I am going to be going over with you all our fabulous teen take and make kit, the recycled paper bead kit that we got some pre-made kits for. Some of you might have already opened up our kit and got to making some beads, and others of you might have just picked it up yesterday or this morning still. So we'll just break into it and start from the very beginning. So when you open the kit, what you may notice is there's not an actual plastic bottle. You do have to recycle your own paper bottle. So plastic bottle, that is. So here's mine. This is Miss Carrie, by the way. Teen Associate here in the 12th Public Library. And you get a funny doohickey here. It might come attached to each other at first. This is if you do not have a plastic bottle handy, you can hold your gadget like this. But if you happen to have a plastic bottle, go ahead and attach the device. It should just screw on like a plastic bottle top. And so how is this going to help us make paper beads? Is what it's going to do, we're actually going to put the paper in between these two pegs, and then it's going to wind them for it. So then we don't have to waste time winding all these beads ourselves. So if you got into your kit, you should have seen that you have a bunch of printed, colored paper, printed paper, all different patterns. That's just the diving board. You can go to a craft store and get any type of colored paper you want, or you can get some word ones as well. I use some old magazines, so feel free to recycle magazines, newspapers. Newspapers would be great because that would get you a really long page and have a very big, long bead for you. The longer the paper is going to be, the bigger the bead is going to be in thickness, in width. So if you cut out a piece of paper, first, just one of the strips of paper. If you have a paper cutter, that might be really helpful to you as a straight edge. Otherwise, you can just freehand it with scissors. The straighter you cut your paper to be the same size, the more even the beads are going to be. But remember, we might just be learning as a very beginner novice. So it's okay if your beads do not all look the same. That's kind of the fun of these paper beads. They can almost be their own little stories. Since they're recycled, they are their own little magic. I'm going to make sure that we don't have any comments popping up that are questions. Hear you loud and clear. Oh, thank you, Julia. Okay, so to get started, if we cut out one of our strips of paper, how to start winding the bead. I find it easiest to put the lever to my right hand because I'm right-handed. So your dominant hand is going to have the lever to wind. And then you are going to put your paper in. And I find it easy if you give it a little anchor. So you kind of wrap it, and so then you can see the printed paper is coming up just a little bit. That's your key to yourself being like, I want the printed paper. That's the kind of bead that we're going to go for. And this is when you start to wind. So you can tighten the lever. I'm trying not to block the camera. For you guys, you should be able to just go in. You can sort of help the paper stay in place by holding it there. Otherwise, you can just kind of let it go. The only tricky thing that is a little weird is that the paper can kind of cover this round bit where the pegs are attached. So make sure you don't go over that, because then that's going to hide all your pretty work. So once you get to almost the end, that's where you're going to take out your glue holder. Now, mine in the practicing of making beads got a little used up, but yours should look like it has a little sponge on it. And you can use the glue that they provided, but pro tip, Elmer's glue, any old glue that you can, make or buy in craft stores is going to work, any paper glue. And you just glue the very tip. You don't have to glue the whole strip of paper. It's a little easier since the bottom part of your tool is keeping pressure for you on the bottom. Under your bead, you don't have to glue the whole strip. And then you just wind the final bits. And then I leave it on there usually just so right here there's pressure at the bottom. And then you can just pinch it off. And what's fun about having the bottle is that it has a hole right in there, so it can just go for easy carryability and all your making needs. So if you want another showing, you probably noticed that some of your strips of paper were just straight pieces, straight edges, as straight as I cut anyway. But a good chunk of them just starting are straight edges. The straight edges are just going to sort of roll over each other, and they are going to kind of build just up and over each winding. But that's not the only kind of paper beads there are. As you can see kind of on your cover, there are two kinds of paper beads that really are featured on your box. And that's kind of one where you see kind of the outside of this paper bead that's like flat. And then there's one where it curves. Oh, didn't really catch the end of that one. It curves all on the side. So try to not get the angle of the light. But so that one looks like it's almost geared down. And how you do that is by using the more triangled cut ones. So you start with your flat edge and then you cut like a triangle to a very, very tip crisp. The pointier you can get that point, that's how you want them. And the smaller it is, the finer point your bead's going to be. And that's why longer is better, because then it's going to go from being from the widest point of the bead to getting thicker and thicker at the inner point of the bead. So let's take, got a lot of angles working on me right now. Get your little anchor printed paper side and then wrap. Now with the triangle one, you'll generally want to keep the piece of paper in the middle of your twirler. Kind of think about how if you're folding up a sleeping bag, you want to keep the sleeping bag in the middle so it doesn't start falling out the sides. That's kind of what you want to do with the bead for the same reason. And then you get it all pressed. You can kind of see You guys see that? How it's getting to a finer tip now as it gets wrapped around and around more and more. And once you use bigger paper or you glue several pieces of normal paper together, then you'll have a big old bead. So that's wonderful. Let those dry. It usually takes just a couple seconds for like each one, just get in a good rhythm. This is a really fun craft to just like do while watching TV, like a movie. But so then you can look at your beads and decide what kind of bracelet do you want to make. Now these are just easy one bead at a time bracelets. I really do like the magazine recycled bead ones. But I am going to teach you how to make another kind as well. So, before I get to our advanced bracelet, I do want to say, even though I have all kinds of different beads you can make just based off of the shapes. So what we've learned the long rectangle, and then we've learned either, depending on how you cut your triangle. Most likely you did the, what would you call this? This one's just like, it's not a right triangle, it's a normal triangle. That one kind of creates, a thicker in the middle bead. And then there's one that would have a right angle triangle, and that would make a more half thick side, one thick side, one smaller side. So you can try playing with these shapes. I just found this online, just on a Google image search. But it looks really fun. I'm attempting to try to do these, so good luck with that. But I can teach you how to do a bit more fun kind of bracelet, and I call it kind of the floating bracelet based on how it looks. It also has some. But so you can make a lot of different types of things with these bracelets. If you guys ever made keychains with beads before, do you guys ever remember making those salamanders? Like I made them at Girl Scout camp, those bead salamander keychains, and everyone had like 20. You can make those out of paper beads. Who needs plastic? That's what I like to say. And we are all for sustainable energy. So your box should have come with some stretchy string. That'll work. Or you can also use macrame. Also helps really well for this type of bracelet. I always do about double my wrist. That's just kind of what they told us as kids. They were like, always do like double just so you have the extra in case you mess up. So then I'm going to use my black point again so you can kind of see a little better. Camera movement, shaky camera. So you are going to start by folding your bracelet to be in half. And then you are going to tie off a little knot at the top. Just a regular knot, and then keep a hole near the top. Maybe you're going to end your bracelet with a button or a bead that's going to close it, and that way you don't have to tie it off. You can just take it off and on easily. And to hold it in place, you go ahead, do a double knot. And I know this string definitely doesn't like to stay in put, so it might take you a little while to mess with it. After you got your knot just in the middle, you're going to put a bead on, pick one out, and what you're going to do, you're going to go in kind of opposites. So here's your knot, here's your bead. Take the right string in your right hand, put it through. leave it. Take the left string in your left hand, put it through. Push it through. It's harder when you're trying to do things on camera. And then you pull both sides in. Then you should have your knot in the middle of your bead. And that's going to be starting off your bracelet. And so what you're going to do is just each time take your opposite strings into the opposite hands, just weaving in and out. So if you take another bead, put in the left, no, put the right string in on the right side. Push it through. And take the left string in your left hand on the left side. Push it through. You see what that's going to, what that is going to do is going to connect our beads from the top rows. So it kind of looks like they're floating if you don't see the invisible string connecting them. And it's just switching your hands once you put it through. So you do take the right string in the right hand, push it through the bead. Take the left string in your left hand and push it through to the right side. And now you are learning your first bit of paper bead braceleting and any other sort of crafts you can do. Check out Creative Bug on our website with your library card for free for more creative ideas. Thank you guys so much. This is Carrie, Teen Associates, signing off. Bye.